Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen News Show. I'm Chris Page. This is Jamie Cranford and we're here to talk about all the news around Liverpool Football Club and some news around Manchester United as well. Big welcome to everybody in the chat, all the Liverpool fans and all the Manchester United fans. Really hope you enjoyed the Europa League next.
Well.
Oh, there's loads already.
Oh, right.
They'll be, I think they're here to
Good
find out
afternoon to you, yeah.
Yeah, what it's like to follow a side that's in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they're going to be getting Leny Yoro, and listen, I am disappointed, when you hear that Liverpool are going to be opportunistic and stuff like that, and then you think he's going over to Real Madrid and then Manchester United sign him. It annoys you, but he's probably not at a Champions League level yet. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, like you, I kind of assumed once Real Madrid are prowling round, you think, well, if something goes wrong with that, then maybe we can just sneak in there. And like, you referenced the Richard Hughes opportunistic line, and this did seem like potentially an opportunistic type thing. One of the kind of hotly tipped young defenders in Europe. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. I just assumed that Real were going to whisper in his ear, like, the fella in Lord of the Rings, who's like that, to the late Bernard Hill. Anyway, that's enough Lord of the Rings references already. Okay. Just Real just whispering in his ear, like, just hang on. Just hang on for another year. Come on a free.
Pretty much what they're going to do to Trent.
I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah, they're big. I've got big. I'm having horrible nightmares about that at the moment. But that looks like it's not happened, and so especially with it being Manchester United, I can see why people are annoyed about this, because you think, well, could we not have just gone in there? I don't know about you, but maybe the fee is the stumbling block with it, because when a few weeks ago I was hearing like 40 million, 45, and I was thinking, okay, but then you've got the possibly rising to 60. That's a lot for an 18-year-old, and I was trying to think in terms of 8. I'm not trying to be the well, I didn't fancy it anyway type guy, but for an 18-year-old, I still think that's a massive risk.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Like, honestly, I am genuinely, I am disappointed, of course, that Liverpool aren't signing him, or aren't even in for signing him. That kind of annoys me, to be honest with you. But I've not lost my head about it, because I can rationalise it. It's 52 million, potentially rising to 60 million. He's going on 113,000 a week, if you believe reports, that can rise with bonuses to 145,000. Romano also put something out on Twitter that said it's going to be a yearly wage rise every single year for the 5 years. Yeah. So you put him at 23 years old, he's probably going to be on 150k minimum a week. Now, in terms of Liverpool's squad, right, that would put him on par with Alexi McAllister, who we signed last year, and who just won a World Cup and had Premier League experience and had 200 games under his belt. Yeah. Whereas this lad's got 49 top flight starts in Liga, in the Conference League, and in the French Cup. Now, I did a little comparison to Jarell Quansah, right? And Jarell Quansah has made 43 senior starts. 28 of those are for Liverpool in the Europa League, in the Carabao, in the FA Cup, and in the Premier League, and 15 are in Bristol Rovers League One. Yeah. I would say that is a comparable number of starts, 43 to 49, in a better league against better opposition than Leny Yoro has had in the French top flight. And he's on £10,000 a week. So the fee is clearly going to be something. Real Madrid didn't want to pay more than something like 35 million. PSG didn't want to pay something like more than 43 million. But Manchester United have gone in with 52, rising to 60 million. Like, that just, although they're getting a very good player, it does seem like you're mortgaging your house on him.
Yeah, I was trying to think of comparison. I was just looking at Wayne Rooney there, because I was thinking, like, if I don't agree that Premier League experience is necessarily the be-all and end-all, but if he played for, say, West Ham, and he'd got your 40, 50 games in the Premier League at 18, it's very, very unusual for a centre-back to come through at the age of 18. But if he played for a team like West Ham, or, where Rooney did with Everton, Rooney at the age of 18, I think he'd gone to the Euros, hadn't he? And he played for England when he signed for Man United. So that was about as sure a bet as you could possibly imagine for an 18-year-old player. And he went on to be their top scorer and all that, but, fair enough. This isn't quite as sure a bet for me in terms of trying to...
Was he centre-back for a start?
Yeah.
I mean, how many points conceivably? Because that's what Liverpool work on. And, you know, you might call me an FSG sympathiser or whatever, but Liverpool work on the fact that if I'm going to sign someone for £75 million, a la Van Dijk, how many points are they going to get me over the course of a season? And I'm not sure Leny Yoro is going to get them 10 extra points, whereas Wayne Rooney, signing him, is going to get you 10 extra points because of the goals that he scores.
Yeah, and the other, I guess the other angle with this, when, you know, if it's, as you say, if it's going on towards 60 million, he's basically, if you're looking at potentially selling him on, like if he'd come to Liverpool and then in 5 or 6 years' time when he's 24, Real Madrid come in or whatever, when you're getting 60, you've got to be asking like 100. He's basically got to be the best in the world for you to make a profit on. Whereas if it's 40, you could maybe be all right, and then you could get 45 or 50. You know what I mean? Like when you're paying up to 60. So I can see why they haven't gone for it. I just think it's probably not the anti-FSG people aren't going to like this, but I think it's probably got to be the fee, because it's just getting a bit too, considering you, I mean, I don't know, what's Branthwaite going to go for? Like
70, 80, 90s, whatever they're looking for.
Yeah, but you know, I could see him going for 70, and you think, well, then you've got someone there. You know what I mean? Like in terms of putting all your money, put all your eggs into one basket, there are going to be other players out there who are probably more of a sure thing. It's a gamble, isn't it?
It's a massive gamble for United. It would be a massive gamble for Liverpool as well. It was a gamble that I would have liked them to take.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to understand the reasons that they've not taken it.
Basically, the only way that us as Liverpool fans are going to be gutted is if he's the new Van Dijk or thereabouts, you know, the new Vidic or what, you know, the new Ferdinand. So it's an extremely high bar. If he's anything under that, in 3 or 4 years' time, we're probably going to look back on this and go, oh, maybe, you know, not necessarily dodged a bullet, but he didn't become the best centre-half
and that's
in
the money
world,
that you're looking to pay for him, isn't it? So I think, you know, Manchester United last broke their transfer record for a teenager with Anthony Martial. I think that was 44 million back in 2015. I think that rose to that didn't work.
I think
out.
on the whisper it quietly, one of the worst signings of all time in terms of that was pre-Neymar. Now it's like, oh well, the world record's 200 million. That was pre the Neymar. It was rising to something like 50 odd. And he started brilliantly against us with that goal where he ripped half of our defence. But other than that, I mean, he's been like, you've hardly seen him the last 3 or 4 seasons. So that didn't work out, you know. I mean, yeah, that would be bad for Yoro if it ends up like this, but not bad for Liverpool fans. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Listen, obviously we've got Joel Kwanzaa there, who's a good player, who clearly is going to improve over the next few years. A couple of years older, 3 years older, I think, than Leny Yoro and stuff. As I say, I am gutted that Liverpool haven't deemed it right, but I'm trying to understand it, and I'm not going to get too pissed off halfway in a transfer window, because it's like, for me, it's like watching an F1 race and being pissed off in the middle of it because the fella's in 5th, but like 2 weeks ago George Russell fucking won the race. He was in 5th or 6th or whatever it was until the very end. So like but I would also get that there is the time to criticise is also in the middle of the transfer window, not after, because you can't do nothing after, but your criticisms don't actually do anything either.
Do you still think we need to sign a centre-half? Would that be, you know?
Yeah. I absolutely want us to sign a centre-half, but I want us to sign a very good left-sided, probably. I don't know. I still want that left-sided
how it all pans out.
That's the problem, isn't it?
If we're here at the start of September and they haven't, and it's like, okay, Sepp Vandenberg's been doing really well and trained. Like, I think it's going to be a bit, you know, I'd feel a bit unsure about it, but we'll have to wait and see. I
think we've all known as well, Jamie, that this pre-season was this summer was a terrible time to change manager because of the Euros, because of the Copa America.
Yeah.
If you were to choose it and you didn't get to choose when it was, you wouldn't have chosen this summer. You'd have chosen one where everything was calm, where you could come in and have a look at his squad properly. It makes sense to me to look at your squad before you decide what you need in terms from Arne Slot. He's not got all of his senior players back. I'm sure he'll have a very good idea of what he wants by now. And I would like Liverpool to get moving, and I am kind of frustrated that Liverpool haven't got moving, but I just can't lose my head over something that I can't control.
Yeah, I think it's a bit I can get why it has been. We've had a month essentially, so a month of Copa America, a month of Euros. Slots come in, Trent and Van Dijk and that aren't even going to be back for maybe another 2 weeks or whatever. So I can understand. Normally we kind of like to get things done early, but I think by this time last year we'd already signed McAllister. McAllister was pretty much done at the end of the season, wasn't it? So that at least you knew we had McAllister and Szoboszlai, 2 quality options in there. But yeah, obviously nothing coming in at this point. We're just going to have to wait and see. We're just going to have to wait and see.
And that's the problem, isn't it? That's what being a football fan is, Jamie.
We might on August the 30th sign a really shit hot centre half. I'd like him to not sign them then. I'd like us to sign one tomorrow. But
it is what it is, isn't it? And listen, I've got understandably people going, oh, because you won't be allowed into a pressure, Chris. That's why you're a knobhead. We have absolutely nothing to do with that, mate. I applied for that press access through Liverpool's press media accreditation. I won't be allowed into press conference in the Premier League because it's the Premier League. So you're absolutely clueless and wrong as normal because it's never about access. It has never been about access. We've always made decisions and told you the truth as we see it. Your ideas and opinions might be completely different to ours. And listen, what did I say to you before the show? Because we didn't discuss this. Jamie walked in.
Yeah.
What were the words that I actually said to you? This is no word of a lie.
He said, "Lovely shirt."
Lovely shirt. I did.
No, he said, "Just say whatever you think. If you disagree with me, then that's fine. It's better that way."
There you go. That's what it's always been about. Like, if your opinions are different to ours, that's absolutely fine.
He's actually just scared about getting called out by Slot again, basically.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
That's what the issue is.
And do you know what it is, right? I'm kind of just a little bit fed up of people who think genuinely that I'm not telling the truth because I got to ask one question in a fucking press conference in the 14 years I've been doing Redmen TV, and they think that's the reason. Like, listen, I disagree with loads of what FSG have done. I disagree with loads of what Liverpool have done. For example, the ticket stuff yesterday is, as normal, a fucking shambles, and Liverpool Football Club need to address that. People book time off because it's so bad to try and get tickets for Liverpool Football Club, and the website goes down, and it happens every single year. And not only was it like it will come back a little bit later, but they said we'll do it another day. Like, people book it off, people work their weeks around these types of things. It's absolutely terrible.
Go on,
what
Chris.
do there,
I'm just going to sit back.
So yeah,
give it to these naysayers in the comments. Give it to John Henry, you gilet wearing prick. That's me not getting any. I've already been to a Liverpool press conference. I just like to say through university. So there you go. So that's my access gone now.
Yeah.
Sorry, John Henry.
It's a shame.
I love you.
Shahad Freeman sends a super chat. Thank you. 150k and 50 mil for a third choice centre back. Obviously, he's a talent, but is he that much better than Kwanzaa? Stats say he isn't yet. And the stats are, incredibly difficult to read into a centre half. Me and Josh did a deep dive this on Tuesday and stuff. So, but the thing is, the stats will tell you he's not very good, but the stats are wrong because Madrid wanted him, PSG wanted him, Manchester United wanted him, Liverpool wanted him. So it's all, he's a very, very good player, and one that I do think in time Liverpool may regret not going out and pushing the boat out for. But again, this isn't me saying FSG are right and Liverpool are right to do this. I am trying, as always, to understand what Liverpool's position is. That's it. So we'll move on anyway. Hopefully I've got rid of the knobs. Joel Matip. This one's an interesting one. Chris, this morning. This one's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Joel Matip is attracting interest from Xabi Alonso's title-winning side on a free transfer. This pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's just dead injury prone.
Well, yeah. I think that's the thing. Like, I had a suspicion they might offer him another year. But I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because I think, to be honest, I thought he was finished about 3 or 4 years ago. But when he had that run in the side first half of last season, he was pretty much at his best, I thought. I think we really missed having him in the running as well as Quansah did, somebody with that kind of experience. So, and I guess this is another thing you can only prove in the future, that, you know, if we sign a centre-half and they have a bit of a dodgy start and he has another unbeaten season for Leverkusen and he plays every week, you'll be going, hang on, why didn't we just keep Joel? You know, but I still think we were right to move him on. I think with, you know, we just carrying so many injury-prone players, and even when it wasn't a long-term one with him, it'd be a little 6 weeks here or a little something. So, you know, I can't get too upset about that either.
No, it's more like, oh God, if somebody else gets him and he's absolutely brilliant, then you sort of get a little bit annoyed about it more than anything else. Yeah. But his time was done, unfortunately. He's like, on his day, I still think he's better than what we've got.
Yes.
But his day isn't very often. That's probably the problem for me. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's whether he can keep fit. He's probably, if he had 31, 32 now, something like that. I don't know, maybe even a bit. I'm not going to look. He's in his early to mid 30s, isn't he? So he's probably max got 1 or 2 years. Even if he wasn't injury prone, he'd have maybe 1 or 2 years where he, you know, still putting in top performances. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to them, man. Nice little potential LFC reunion there.
Okay, well, Ross replied to me anyway. He said, "Look, lads, I've been a subscriber for over 5 years and I've 99% of the content, but too often you refuse to call these owners out and try and find excuses. If it's not, I'm assuming it's not good enough." Ross, if you'd have just said that rather than calling the access shout, I probably wouldn't have been as much of a knobhead to you, to be honest with you. Again, it's not finding excuses for the owners. I couldn't give a shit who owns Liverpool Football Club as long as the team does well, and the team has gone historically well over the last sort of 8 or 9 years. I want Liverpool to sign players. Jamie wants Liverpool to sign players. We all want Liverpool to sign players. I'm also not going to just fucking go mental on the internet for views. Like others.
I was in the similar. It does happen again and again. Like, did you go to Deepdale last year for the friendly? No. I think Dan went, didn't he? I was there and like there was all the Lavia chat, and I was thinking, oh God, this transfer window is going to end up. We got, you know, and then I don't know if we'd had the Caicedo thing or what, but by the end of that transfer window, you look back and you go, oh, you know, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Endo did well. So I'd still say it was a successful transfer window, but at the time,
even though we lost our heads in the middle of it,
yeah, at the time, I was thinking, oh God, we're going to start the season with a massive hole in the centre of our midfield and all, and then it's like, oh, some 30-year-old fella from the Bundesliga we've never heard, and he's a good player. He's a really good player, Endo. So.
He's not who we wanted. Obviously, no. Caicedo would have been a lot better for us, I'm sure of that. In the end, it never came down to whether Liverpool paid the money or not. They agreed the money.
The one thing I will say, to be a bit critical about some of the links where they've gone, I still think I would like, if I was playing like a Space Jam, I always reference Space Jam style match against the aliens, I'd have a number 6, like a shit hot number, like a Mascherano type or somebody like that. That's just how I like to play football in my own head. Not that I run a team or anything like that. Some of this stuff about, we just don't see the right guys being out there, and you think, and some of the links, like was it Edison or Atalanta, and you think, well, they've won the Europa League. Like, he's obviously pretty good. I don't know if he's right for us. Some of that sort of stuff, you think, well, you're not going to find this unicorn player. There's not like a cloned Rodri who's 22 who plays for, like, you know, for Lille, or someone who you can get for not that much. Like, some of these other options, surely some of them are quite good. Like, well,
I think a lot of the thing with Leny Yoro is, I genuinely, you know, Paul Gorst told Dan this morning, is one of the reasons he thinks that he didn't go in for them is he's not going to get the game time. They think what they've got is better. So here's a question for you. Is Leny Yoro right now better than Ibu Konate and Virgil van Dijk?
No.
So when's he play? When's he improve?
Yeah.
Is he better than Manchester United's defenders? Fucking absolutely. They're shite. So
Yeah.
and that's another thing, isn't it?
You could see him start, actually, yeah. You could see him start for United, whereas for us, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Gomez, but certainly if you could keep... I mean, look, Canate is literally in the France squad and he isn't. So, you know, I know he's only 18, but there's a pecking order there and he's behind Canate in the pecking order. So, yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Okay, Robin Hood, thank you very much. Robin from the Rich, giving us to the poor. We need to relax and wait on signing. Slot needs time to look at all the players and some friendlies and resolve contracts before deciding what we need. Okay. We'll move on. Another Liverpool move that is... caused widespread condemnation is the fact that Liverpool have appointed ex-Everton player Dutchman Johnny Heitinger as an assistant coach. If he's a good coach, I'm fully not arsed that he played at Everton Football Club. If he's a bad coach, like, what are you doing, Liverpool?
Yeah, I'm pretty much exactly the same lines. Like, I don't want this to turn into... the Redmen having a go at their subscribers, because that's probably not a very good business model.
Not fair.
But I saw on the Instagram post about this, loads of people go, what, employing a former Blue? And I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I don't hold it against Rafa Benitez going to Everton, for example. Some people are like, oh, that's really, you know, I don't hate Fernando Torres. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just not a very hateful guy, basically. But not bothered about the fact that he played for... If he's a good coach, great, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say.
Yeah, and he's obviously he's Dutch, and Alan Slot must know him because he's Dutch and everyone knows everyone, of course.
It's a small country.
It's a small country. He's moved into coaching, worked with Ajax, senior side and stuff like that. So by all accounts, it could be a good signing, but it is news, so I thought we'd better talk about it anyway. What was interesting here is West Ham star Mohamed Kudus, who has actually been linked with a move to Anfield, not this summer, but in the past. Yeah, was actually talking about. I'm just going to try and find the quotes for you here. I felt very good under Heitinger. He is the best trainer I have had at Ajax. Apart from the training aspect, I also have a very high regard for him in terms of standards and values. Personally, I would have loved to work with him longer. He's a top trainer, and I really appreciate his efforts to make the players better at the time. That's great to hear, really, isn't it?
I mean, they've had some fantastic coaches at Ajax over the years, so if he's the best one that Kudus has worked with over at that time, then great. That's a ringing endorsement for him.
Okay. Liverpool in discussions with Dundee over French centre-back Billy Cometio. This is sort of a classic what can happen to young centre-back story, actually. I've not really considered that when I put this on the agenda, but Billy Cometio was supposed to be the one. Now I think Yoro's on a completely different planet to him, of course, but, you know, he was always going to be in the first team, and now it looks like he's going to be going to Dundee.
Yeah, and that's again, going back to the Yoro thing, I think just the age, I still think that's why I brought up Wayne Rooney. It's such a young age to be saying, you know, I can remember the shouts for people like Freddie Adu, and and going back to the early noughties there's all of these, you know, people who were 16. So, I mean, obviously some of them got, you know, Messi was hotly tipped when he was 16, 17, and look what happened there. There are occasions when it all works out, but yeah, it's very, very difficult. I only saw Cometio a couple of times in a red shirt. I mean, he only played a couple of times.
Yeah, I think he was twice in the first team, yeah.
He was one of them where you saw him and you thought, oh, I don't, you know. But I always want people to prove me wrong. I thought that about Vandenberg. I only saw him briefly, getting on for about 4 years ago now, and I thought, oh, he doesn't look ready.
I can't believe he's fast. I'm not.
Yeah,
he looked like one of the slowest players I've ever seen.
I can only think of him playing in it was a League Cup against
Wolves.
Was it that? I've got this vision of him playing against Preston, but I might be wrong. Anyway.
I'm sure he played against Wolves when Keanu Hoover played.
Oh yeah, when we played a very young team. Yeah, but he didn't look right, and I always want these players to go away on loan and then come back in and absolutely smash it. You know, I'm never going to write anyone off, but it looks like Cometio's not quite made the step up, and you know, it's unfortunate for him, but he's going to go on to have a good career. Like, you know, playing professional football.
That's what we all wanted.
Exactly.
Well, the Thiago Alcantara is going to be joining the Barcelona coaching staff, mate. What are your thoughts on that one?
He's probably going to be better than half the players. Imagine him into, when they're doing the rondos and all that, or
I can't imagine he's going to be a very hands-on coach because he'd get injured.
Yeah. You can't see him going in for many 50-50s.
Is it a talking role?
I mean, he seems like a smart guy. He's, I mean, it's a bit like, I don't know if you're a cricket fan, but the whole, like, James Anderson.
Worst sport in the world.
Okay. Well, to the cricket fans out there, to our overseas viewers, our American viewers. Oh, they're trying to make it big in America. They just had a World Cup there. Anyway, James Anderson's just retired, and it's like he's now going to be like a bowling consultant. I'm thinking, if I were him, and I'd be like, I'm trying to teach this fella who's worse than me what to do. I'd be like, why don't you just play me? Anyway, he probably will be better in all the little rondos and all. Have you ever seen that video of Mark Hughes scoring a volley when he's City manager?
Yeah.
It's like, and there's one of Zidane where he's like lobs the goal. I mean, obviously, like, Zidane's one of the best of all time. I mean, it's interesting move for him. Wouldn't rule out if he ends up becoming a manager. Would you rule him out coming?
No, he's the exact type of player that I think if you think about like your Xavis and your Iniestas and stuff like that, and he fits in. And obviously, Hansi Flick is the new manager of Barcelona, isn't he? He worked with him at Bayern Munich and stuff like that. So there's a link there as well. Obviously, it's a club that he's played for and stuff. So I kind of wish him all the best, to be honest with you. And he's played under some unbelievable managers. Like I'm sure he will have played under Pep Guardiola, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp, Hansi Flick. They won 6 trophies in a year. There, he's obviously won league titles wherever he kind of been and stuff like that. Apart from Liverpool, unfortunately, Thiago.
He's probably technically up there with the best players I've ever seen play for Liverpool. He's not up there with the best Liverpool players, but he that noise. That you just went. Like, how has he done that? Not even stuff that's massively significant, just little drops of shoulders and just little flick. And, good luck to you, Thiago.
Okay, news on the goalkeeper then. Caoimhin Kelleher has been urged by the new Ireland manager to leave Liverpool this summer in search of a regular starting spot, having already admitted his desire to become a number one. I think we kind of felt that Caoimhin Kelleher would probably move on this summer. I'd like to keep him if we can. But the noise is getting a little bit too loud now to ignore, isn't it? Yeah,
it's getting a little bit like the Nat Phillips situation, except he's better than Nat Phillips is. It's I mean, I wouldn't exactly say I feel sorry for him because he's paid well and he plays for Liverpool. For God's sake, I don't know how you could feel sorry for anyone playing, but yeah, it says there he's turning 26, so he's he needs to. He could be the number one goalkeeper for probably like 14 of the Premier League. So, there's not that many teams in the Premier League that go, no, our fella's better. So, if he wants to, a bit of a lesser thing, but I remember when we had Scott Carson back in the day, I think he had a few caps for England. He went out on loan to maybe Villa or, he went and had some good loans and then he ended up leaving. It's a bit similar situation. I think you've got to leave if you want to be a first choice goalkeeper somewhere. So it's going to be a bit of because he's one of our homegrown, isn't he? Yeah. And I can't even say I've ever seen Yaros play, but if he's getting in the Czech squad, he must be decent.
He just won the league.
He's not a bum,
well, hasn't he?
But so I wouldn't be massively throwing me toys out the pram if we go in with Alisson and Yaros as our two.
I suppose the question there then, Jamie, is there are rumours that Saudi Arabia are looking to spend big at Al Nassr, I think it was, that want to buy Alisson. I mean, it's a dangerous situation you could be getting yourself in if you let Kelleher go too early.
Yeah, I just kind of tried to just push those thoughts away because I'd heard something about Edison possibly.
It looks like he might be going there to that club as well. To be fair,
yeah, okay. Well, I've always said Edison's the best Brazilian goalkeeper, so sign him. Definitely sign him. Leave Alisson. You don't want Alisson, do you? Just leave him to us. You don't want Alisson.
I think so.
I think I'm not really countenanced him leaving, to be honest. But obviously, if the worst was to happen, well, then Kelleher's kind of got his dream there without having to move, hasn't he? If Alisson goes,
the best for us is to keep them both, though, innit?
Yes, but it's how I can't see him. You know, I don't know the lad, but I can't see him going on strike or, you know, driving to another team's training ground like Odin Wingy, or, you know, having a massive fallout with them. I can't see that happening, but I do think for him, he probably does need to leave if he wants to start becoming a number one goalkeeper.
Absolutely. Okay. Final story. A bit more of a sobering story, to be honest with you, but I'm thankful for it regardless. Campaigners welcome new Hillsborough law plan confirmed in the King's speech. The new Hillsborough law, which will lawfully force public authorities and officials to tell the truth, has been confirmed as part of the King's speech. I mean, the fact that you have to put it into law to tell the truth is wild to me. But I'm glad that it's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, just telling the truth, man. It's just telling the truth. The new Labour government is set to stick to their manifesto promise to introduce a Hillsborough law after it was included as part of the King's speech, which marks the start of a new parliamentary year. The Hillsborough Law campaign aims to introduce a bill that would create a new legal duty of candour on public authorities and officials to tell the truth and proactively cooperate with official investigations and inquiries, bringing to an end the depressingly familiar pattern of cover-ups and concealment, ensure victims of disasters or state-related deaths are entitled to parity of legal representation during inquiries. This will mean that bereaved families can get public funding just as public money is used to support government and public authority lawyers. This is obviously off the back of years and years and years of campaigning, firstly for the truth, you know, and holding and sticking to your guns throughout 30 years of absolute hell on earth for the families and everybody who was involved in the support groups and the HJC formerly and stuff like that as well. But it is just such great news that this is moving forwards, because you know, with the Hillsborough law, with more light being shone on these types of things, hopefully the wrongful ideas that people have about Scousers, stemming in part from Hillsborough, can slowly start to be turned around.
I think in a way, and this is all originally fueled by the Sun, is that there's still a prevailing sense, and we are a bit loud and a bit brash and like laughing at England, going, you know, and there's a bit of that, like, we don't sing the national anthem. There's a bit of like, we're different from the rest of the country thing, which I get, but I think there's still a bit of a feeling of like, oh well, that was just them Scousers, they don't know how to behave, sort of thing. But there's these other things now, like that post office program, the post office scandal program was one of the biggest programs of the year so far. People disgusted by it. We've got the infected blood scandal. Grenfell, I remember seeing some poor person on the internet, on Twitter, a couple of years ago going, Grenfell, it had been like 4 years and no answers. And I'm like, you're in for the long haul, mate, because these things, everybody tries their level best to cover their arse, to change statements, to, you know, prevent things that make them look bad, and in some cases legally culpable for people's deaths. You know, they try their level best to stop that from coming out. So it's not just for us, it's for all these other people, and because you just see the pattern of it again and again and again. The difference, I guess, with us was we had this press thing saying, oh no, it was actually your fault. Whereas the Grenfell victims and people like that have not had this press campaign of going, you know, as awful as it is. So yeah, I think it's obviously a good thing. I think you don't, you know, I mean, and the horrible thing is, it's a very somber end to this now, but like, you've seen, you know, what happened in Paris, some of the events at the Copa America and stuff like it's, you see them and you just shudder, because you think, like, everyone thinks, oh, modern football, it's all sanitized, isn't it? And like, it's all family friend. And it's like, no, if things aren't organized well, like, bad things can happen and potentially put people's lives at risk. So I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but like, it's
No,
just,
I think
you
it's
just
right.
have to be mindful.
I think it's right. I think
it's not impossible that people are going to die in a football stadium. I get, like, as horrible as that sounds, we need. I obviously don't want that to happen, but we need this kind of thing, this law in place, so that and it's not just in football, it's in any kind of business where something's gone wrong and people have lost their lives or have been injured. You can't have people trying to avoid revealing the truth for years and years and years. So yeah,
it still baffles me that, you know, that has to be written into law to tell the truth when you're trying to cover up something. But yeah, and unfortunately, and I'm just glad that it's there anyway. I thought you brilliantly summed that up. We're going to end the show there. We're going to go for a big cry.
I was going to say, yeah, bit of a somber end to that, but
yeah, thank you very much for joining us for today's Liverpool news, and we'll see you next time.